Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Nigro with the Screencast in our unit on Ohm's Law and electrostatics. This is the second screencast of that series. This one is going to look at electrical current and then electrical potential energy and electrical potential difference. All right, so those three variables are going to be discussed in this particular screencast. If you didn't review the one on charge, I strongly suggest you go back and do that so you understand where these electrons are coming from that we're going to be working with. All right, so we're going to start with electrical current. All right, so when electricity flows between 2 points, one particle is moving. All right, and that has to be the electrons. All right, so just as a reminder, protons do not move. All right, if you change the number of protons within an atom, you change the element. All right, you change its identity. So those don't move. They're also buried way down in the center of the atom in that nucleus, and they're really hard to get to. All right, the electrons, on the other hand, are on the outside and in shells as you move towards the nucleus, but those outermost electrons, those valence electrons, are free to move. All right, and they're moving between 2 points. For these electrons to move, though, there has to be a difference in charge between these 2 points. One charge must be more charged than another, and electricity tends to flow from a location with negative charge to a location with more positive charge, which makes sense because electrons are negative and they're repelled by negative charge. All right, but those same electrons are attracted to positive charge. So it makes sense that you're going to move from an area with negative charge around to something with positive charge. All right. So if we look at a battery, if you've ever looked at one, you can see there's a positive end and a negative end, and that's on purpose because when you put it into your circuit, the electrons are going to flow from that negative end around to that positive end. So this is our electron flow. All right, but again, it's got to be in a circuit. If a battery is just sitting on your bench, there's no electron flow going on because there's no conducting material between the two ends of that battery. All right, but once you put it in a row mode or whatever else, then it's going to start moving. All right, there are two types of current that we can talk about. If electrons flow in one direction, all right, we call this direct current, all right, which we often call DC current. All right, if electrons can flow in both directions, then we have what's called alternating current, which is represented with AC. So you can have AC current or DC current. Most often, we're going to be working with DC current. AC current requires that the two poles of your battery or your power supply are able to switch, which means that the electrons are going to change their direction of flow. All right, but we tend to stick with DC current for our look at electricity. All right, so what is electrical current? All right, so current measures the rate of electron flow between 2 points. All right, and those 2 points have to have varied charge or nothing is going to move. All right, so we need varied charge, and then if we can measure the rate at which those electrons are moving between those 2 points, we have the current. All right, if the difference in charge is 0, no flow. All right, so just keep that in mind. You have to have a difference in charge. So what is the formula? Well, we represent current with the capital letter I, and that's going to be equal to the charge that is moving divided by the time over which it moves. So that's a rate, right? Something divided by time. All right, the unit would come out to be a coulomb divided by seconds. All right, but more commonly we use the ampere, which is a coulomb second. And next to a number, it'll have a capital A for that unit. All right, so let's try a couple problems with this formula. All right, so we have 300 coulombs of charge. It flows by in 2 minutes. What is the current? All right, so we list out what we know. Coulombs is charge, so that's Q. All right, we've got a time of 2 minutes. All right, now we need everything to be in seconds here, so I'm going to convert that into 120 seconds. And we're asked to find the current. All right, so I know that current is charge divided by time. So if I plug that in, I have 300 coulombs of charge moving past at 120, or moving in 120 seconds, that gives me a current of 2.5 amps. All right, so that means 2.5 coulombs move past the point every second. That's what the rate of flow is. All right, let's try another one. There's a current of 1.2 amps in a resistor. What is the amount of charge that flows in 90 seconds? All right, so this time I know the current, 1.2 amps. I have a time value of 90 seconds, and I'm asked to find the charge. All right, so if I look at my formula and rearrange, that charge is equal to the current times the time. So 1.2 amps times 90 seconds. Yeah, here we didn't need to do a time conversion because it was already in seconds. All right, so we have 108 coulombs of charge that are moving here. All right, and then finally, if 4.5 times 10 to the 21st electrons flow by in 45 seconds, what is the current? All right, so we have time, 45 seconds. Now this number, this 4.5 times 10 to the 21st is N from our charge formula. So 4.5 times 10 to the 21st electrons. And we're asked to find the current. Well, I don't have a formula that relates these three variables directly. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is figure out, well, how much charge is moving? So Q is equal to N times E. So in this case, 4.5 times 10 to the 21st electrons times 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19th coulombs per electron. So I multiply those two values together, and I find that 720 coulombs of charge is moving. All right, now with Q, I can find the current, Q over time. So 720 coulombs divided by 45 seconds. So the current here is 16 amps. All right, so 16 coulombs of charge is moving every second. Okay? All right, now we've got the current. We understand the electrons are moving. So the question then is why? Why did they move at all? Why don't they just stay put? Well, the fact of the matter is if you don't have a charge difference, they are going to stay put. So then the question becomes, well, what is that charge difference? Right? And that charge difference is called the potential difference or the voltage. But before we can get to the voltage, we need to talk about the energy of those electrons, which is our electrical potential difference. All right, now we're going to represent this in our formulas with PE with a little lowercase e to represent the electrical. Sometimes you might see it as UE, all right, in textbooks, but we're going to use PE. It's a lot of E's. All right, so let's talk about what it is first. All right, so it's the potential energy of an electron due to being held against a charge gradient. Now that's a lot of fancy words, but let me spell that out for you a little bit better. All right, so basically if you have an electron which is negatively charged, so let's say my electron's right here, all right, and I want to move it towards these negative charges, the electron does not want to do that because it's repulsed by those negative charges. But I can force it, and I can push it there, but I have to expend some energy to make that happen. And if I can push it there and hold it there, all that energy I expended to get it there is now potential energy. All right, so when we talk about potential energy for electrons, it's because I'm pushing it against the charge differential. It doesn't want to go that way, but it will. And once I get it there, all right, it's got potential energy. All right, but once the electron is released, all right, so let's say however I'm holding it in place, I release it, all right, it is clearly going to move. It's going to immediately go towards these positive charges because that's what it's attracted to. All right, so it moves away from those negative charge, which means if it's moving, it now has kinetic energy. So similar to our gravitational potential energy. All right, once you release something held above the ground, that potential energy due to gravity gets converted into kinetic energy as it falls. Same thing here. All right, I have potential energy due to a difference in charge. Once I release the electron, it wants to move towards that positive area, and that potential becomes kinetic. All right, now the unit we use, same thing as we've used before for energy, it's the joule. All right, so that potential energy is what leads us to this electrical potential difference, which is also known as voltage. All right, so this is a measure of the difference in charge between two areas. All right, basically it gives the electrons their electrical potential energy. All right, so using the idea of potential energy due to gravity is a great analogy here. So imagine you go to the top of a 500-foot cliff, then that cliff is going to give your object a certain amount of potential energy. But if you take it to the top of a 2,000-foot cliff, you're going to have a whole lot more potential energy. Same thing here. If the difference in charge between 2 points is small, then you have a small amount of potential energy. If the difference between two areas is very large, then you're going to have a lot of potential energy. All right, so potential energy due to gravity, great analogy. The higher an object is above the ground, the more potential energy it has. For flowing electrons, the greater the difference in charge between 2 points, the more potential energy, and then potential difference that you have. The lower the difference between 2 points, the lower the voltage. All right, so if we think about it this way, let's say we have a charge differential of plus 20 on one end and not plus, sorry, minus 20 on the other end. So if you look at these two, there is no difference. All right, so over here you would say no voltage, all right, which means no flow. All right, if there's no difference, nothing's going to change. All right, so now let's say instead of plus 20 and minus 20, we have plus 20 and let's say minus 15. All right, so we have a little difference. All right, so that means a little, oops, come here, buddy, little flow. All right, so the electrons are going to move, but they're not going to have a ton of energy. All right, so you're not going to be able to do a lot with them. All right, what if instead of plus 20, we had plus 2,000 on this end and minus 10 on this end? All right, if we look at these two, this is a lot of difference. All right, so strong, the word strong's weird here, but a nice energetic flow, if you want to think of it that way. These electrons are going to have a lot of energy, so they're going to move either quickly or they're going to be able to do a lot of work for us. Okay, so the job of potential difference, the job of that voltage, all right, it provides the potential energy, electrical, that the electrons need to move around the circuit. All right, if you think about it in terms of batteries, if you take a AA battery, it's a 1.5 volt battery, right? That's going to provide 1.5 joules of energy to every coulomb of charge that you're trying to move. If you swap that out for a 9 volt battery, that battery is going to provide 9 joules of energy to every coulomb. All right, so the higher the voltage, the more energy that the electrons are going to gain. All right, you can also think of this as the push needed to move the electrons. All right, so we can calculate this value. All right, we use a capital V for potential difference or voltage, and it's going to be equal to the potential energy electrical of the electrons divided by the amount of charge we're trying to move. All right, so it's the potential energy per coulomb of charge. All right, so for units, all right, we have a joule for energy and a coulomb for charge, but we actually use the volt. It represents a joule per coulomb, and we have a capital V for our numbers. All right, so let's try a couple of these. All right, so we have a generator doing 150,000 joules of work and pushing 12,500 coulombs of charge. What is the voltage difference? What's the potential difference here? All right, so we've got an energy value, 150,000 joules. All right, we've also got charge, that's Q, 12,500 coulombs, and we're asked to find the voltage. All right, so we know that voltage is equal to the potential energy divided by the charge. So in this case, 150,000 joules divided by 12,500 coulombs is going to equal, what's that going to equal? 12 volts. 12 volts. All right, so we get 12 joules of energy per coulomb of charge that we're trying to move. That's what a car battery is, 12 volts. All right, let's try another one. We have 8.5 times 10 to the 20 electrons that flow through a resistor in 45 seconds and lose a total of 500 joules of energy. What is the charge? Okay, so we have a number of electrons, that's N. So 8.5 times 10 to the 20 electrons. We've got time, 45 seconds, and then we've got energy, so we'll use potential energy here. All right, now you may ask, well, that doesn't say it's potential energy. You got to remember, the potential energy is just that. Once the electrons start moving, that potential energy gets converted into other things. So anytime you see the J show up next to a number, you can put it in wherever you see potential energy in your formulas, all right? So the first question is, what is charge? So Q, based on what we know, we're going to have to use N times E, all right? So we have 8.5 times 10 to the 20th electrons times our constant, 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19th coulombs per electron, all right? We do that multiplication and we have 136 coulombs of charge, all right? Up next, what is the current, all right? Well, current is Q divided by time, charge divided by time. So 136 coulombs divided by our 45 seconds means that the current is 3 amps. All right, so 3 coulombs of charge is moving every second. And then finally, what is the voltage? So the voltage is going to be that potential energy divided by the charge. All right, so 500 joules of energy per 136 coulombs of charge gives us a voltage of 3.7 volts. Okay? All right, so what we learned here is that the current is the rate of flow of the charge. All right, but that charge will not move unless there is a potential difference, a difference in charge somewhere in the circuit. All right, that difference in charge can be big or small, but the larger it is, the more energy those electrons are going to have to move. Okay, you should be familiar with these equations, the one for charge, the one for current, and now the one for voltage. Okay.